so inside NACA, which is the National Association of Campus Activities. I might have that wrong. Please don't hate me on Twitter.
I feel like I've heard of that, but maybe from my college days. Like, and you would work
I would go to these conventions, regional and national conventions, perform, and then sit in a booth while people walked by and decided whether they wanted to book you at Ball State University, or
It's always Ball State.
It's always Ball State. University of Ohio at University of Miami at Ohio, one of my favorite ones I ever did. But that was great for me. That was really, really good.
So you would go on the road. Was it every weekend or?
No, I tried to do. I started out doing the weeks, and then because I wanted to have time to audition, I started doing just weekends.
Okay, so
or
you could
Friday.
be in Manhattan to audition.
Yeah, and then I moved out to L.A. like in '87.
Okay,
so.
Was there a big New York moment at any of the clubs that really
that's a good
took
question.
off?
Big New York moments. No, but
Did you get herpes? Anything? Give me a memory.
All right, I didn't. None of that. I wasn't lucky enough to have anything like that happened. No, I mean I just kind of worked my way up through, and yeah. As a matter of fact, in like 80. I think in 85, 86, I performed New Year's Eve at the comic strip, which was like, it was a big deal. For me, it was. I was like, oh, yeah. Because I had two bits that really kind of took off. One was where I played the electric ukulele.
Yeah.
And the other, I had this like ski routine that lasts about 5 minutes. So between the two of them, I had a closer and then a super closer on top of that. So I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And, yeah, that was good, and then I got started getting television shows, doing stand up, and then I moved to California, and then a couple years later just started doing commercials. I never did any commercials in New York, but in LA I did.
Which is weird because there is a ton of commercials cast out of New York.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for rubbing it in.
No, I mean this is now. Back then, I don't know what
there was.
Back then, there still was?
Couldn't get anything.
I mean, I can make fun of you now. You've done every commercial under the sun.
Well, that's an exaggeration.
I didn't know until this morning that you were the voice of my past, the sandwich and the elevator for the orange juice commercial.
Not the elevator. It's called a refrigerator. But
I've got all that inside baseball on Otis Elevator stuck in my head. Yeah, the Florida orange juice.
Yep.
The sandwich in the fridge.
The talking sandwich.
The talking sandwich.
Yeah.
You make a great sandwich, my friend.
Thank you. He was interesting because when I auditioned for the spot, it was a pastrami sandwich in the refrigerator.
And they recast the sandwich?
Ham and cheese. They de-Jewed it.
Was it too Jewish?
Too Jewy.
A little too Jewy?
Too Jewy.
That's funny. Who knew? And you were the Hertz guy?
Yes.
Not quite?
Not exactly.
Not exactly. See, I've got all this. I can't remember a
Thank
goddamn
you.
thing,
Yeah.
Wayne. I'm lucky I remember my kids' names.
Do you worry about that? Do you worry about having dementia?
I don't
Seriously?
know if no, but I used to. I mean, I do improv. I should be better at this, but my kids talk and everything just flies out of my head. I've definitely gotten worse in the 7 years I've had the two little guys running around. I can't even put my words together.
Yeah. I would worry about that.
Yeah,
I would worry about that. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean
I
don't want to bring you down, but
no, this quickly went from an elevator discussion to
the long path into darkness.
We'll just put a little
slow
note on there.
Fade.
At that point, Steve stared at the wall for 5 minutes without
Steve
speaking.
slow fade into darkness and confusion. And then he couldn't recognize his own kids. It was really sad. But he had a hunch when he was talking to Federman that he couldn't quite put things together, that the synapses weren't firing at the right level.
Much like you were the voice of whether I was a gambler or not. I need you to follow me and tell me, when I've kind of I've crossed the line. It hasn't happened to me on stage yet, which that's my fear.
Right.
That it'll get in my head and I'll start thinking about that and I'll just go blank and roll into the fetal position.
Seems like an odd reaction.
No, that's my go-to reaction.
Not being able to come up with a word seems a bit extreme, but that's all right. If you want to,
it hasn't happened yet.
Far be it from me to tell you how to react.
It happens at least twice during these chats, so you'll probably see it before you go.
No, sometimes it happens to me.
Where your brain goes?
Not that my brain goes, but I know the word and I can't pull it out. That's a little annoying.
Or like
we'll be right back with Old People Talk. But first, a word from Metamucil, our sponsor.
It's the orange one. It mixes right into the water. It's beautiful. You'll go like a colossus and within 12 hours. This is for our generation. This is for our people.
I don't know.
I'm still thinking about that poor pastrami sandwich out on the street, can't get work.
It was obviously an animatronic sandwich. Don't worry about it.
But the commercial gigs,
yes,
that's nice,
phenomenal,
right? I mean, because that's
not
just
phenomenal. And I'm lucky that I'm not big enough that anyone thinks I'm a sellout for doing commercials.
I was going to say,
so it's like a silver lining that my career never took off.
You're one of those guys that's in so many things, but do you get recognized?
Barely.
Which is great.
Barely.
You don't want to get recognized.
No, I disagree with 100%.
You want to get recognized?
I love it. I would love to be.
Oh, I recognize you.
No.
That doesn't help. Well, and my mind is going, so that's actually impressive that I remember you.
Yeah, no, that's never been a goal of mine not to be recognized.
Really?
It's not like on my list, on my dream board. Please don't be recognized by strangers.
But I think once you cross that line, like I know some folks who get recognized all the time, and when you walk down the street, they're like, okay. I think it can be burdensome. It obviously doesn't happen to me. These are
the kind of problems that 1/100th of 1% people in the world could deal with, could even think about, and you're like,
no.
I wouldn't want to be recognized.
But here's my point: why I brought that up for you. You can, if you get to a certain level of recognition,
hopefully
you can't do the commercials that you can.
Right. At that point, I would be like, why is he doing that commercial?
If you become the second lead on a sitcom, you're not going to be able to make that gravy. I mean, yes, you want the sitcom, but right now I know who you are, and I know you through Jordan. I see you in the playing poker with Kenny Rogers.
Yep.
Nobody else is going to go, oh, that's that Wayne Federman guy, so that you can keep playing those commercial roles, I think.
I mean, yeah.
That's just my take on it.
No. I'm thrilled to do it. I'm thrilled.
And what
happened? What just happened?
This is how the brain.
Oh my God, folks! If you could see what's happening, he's in the fetal position. He's on the ground. Maria, he's drooling. He's calling to the producer, Maria. It's pretty sad. What's going on here. Listen, for some reason, Maria is keeping the tape rolling. I think he doesn't want her doing that at all. So,
if somebody can get me a pastrami sandwich and let me ride on an elevator for a few minutes, I think I can get this all out of my head.
My whole career.
Was it hard to not take that job? I'm going to wind it back to that.
What?
When they offered you to go full time.
Oh no, that was easy.
It was never. I'm going to do that.
Not even a question.
Because you always had this as the Federman path.
And looking back, I don't know where I had that absolute focus, fortitude, where that came from. But I was just like, well, I'm going to give this a full shot at least until age 30. Okay. Not even think about anything else. And then at 30, go, let's take a look at what's around and assess. It's not like I had to have a specific. It wasn't like, I have to do the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson by the time I'm 30, or I'll quit. So that was my strategy. I'm going to give it to age 30. And then at age 30, I looked around. I was like, I'm actually supporting myself. I paid off my NYU debt completely ahead of schedule, and had money in the bank. And I was like, I'm doing pretty well. I'm going to keep going. Let's see how this goes. And then when you hit 40, you're like, this is it. This is my career.
This is what I'm going to do.
There's no, yeah.
Well, at 40, it's kind of hard to switch.
Not really.
You think you go back to?
I don't know. There's no going back, but there's no go back to Otis Elevator Company. That would
even in the life you've led.
Yeah.
I don't think I could go back now to a job.
Yeah, you
that
have
has
a different
2 weeks vacation.
Right.
Once you come out of there to go back into it, I don't know if you could do it. I don't know if I know. I
mean, in some circumstance, I guess I could. It's not the worst thing in the world.
No, I look at people when I come out here, and I really look at people. I'm like, wow, there's so many shitty jobs out there. I'm so lucky.
Yeah. So
you lose sight of it.
I don't know. So that's it. I'm now. I can now actually. I know this is. I can retire because I'm 55.
Okay.
And Screen Actors Guild, you can start collecting at 55.
Wow.
So I could collect money right now and be set for the rest of my life.
But you got 40 good years left in you.
I'm just getting going. I'm just getting going. Wayne is delusional. Wayne Federman's delusional. He thinks he's just starting.
We got a new comedy team, Delusional and Forgetful. This is perfect.
Oh my God, Wayne thinks he's just getting going. It's kind of cute.
Walking around in your shorts, thinking you're a young Hollywood buck.
What an idiot! God, no concept of reality.
Your hat says, "I'm a producer." How do you do in this town? Are you doing okay?
So funny.
I didn't see the clip. I know you did the Tonight Show.
Yeah.
Which is every comic's dream.
Yeah.
But you did it right at the cusp. Did you get a Carson or Leno?
No, I got Leno. And it was a huge disappointment not to get Carson.
Because it was right at the cusp. But you grew up.
Yeah, I tried, and I came so close. Agonizingly close.
How far?
It's even hard to talk about it to this day.
Sorry.
No.
I like to bring up the raw.
Yeah. It's
Come on, we did fucking 10 minutes on elevators. Give me a little Leno.
No, it was very, very, it was a crush. It was, to this day, I've not seen Carson's final episode. That's how painful it is.
How close were you at,
Very close.
It was right, there was a set
There was
date.
a guy, no, there wasn't a date, but there was a guy named Jim McCauley who was booking the show, who liked me, and then he came in to see my set, and I had a great set, and he was drunk and didn't remember it, and then I don't know what, and it was just, I didn't have great management at the time. It was very frustrating, because that was the thing. That was why I started. Not why I started, but it's very specific goal for young comedians.
Comics today,
all
starting that. Making it on the show and making the couch.
No.
I
feel like it's not like you do one Conan and you're on your way. Although sets still matter. Sets on late night television still matter. But that was disappointing.
But you killed on
Leno had me several times.
Yeah. And who was the booker for him that she went a little crazy?
That was his producer?
Yeah. I forget that whole story. Now I'm thinking back to the changeover. I remember Carson's last year.
Yeah, what was her name?
Barbara?
No. He had to fire his manager, and that was pretty weird.
So that wasn't about you, right? It wasn't about
Had nothing to do with me.
Nothing.
But here's my one, again, this is inside baseball.
Hit me.
When I finally did the Tonight Show with Jay Leno, which I did it, I think, in its first season on there, it was in the same studio that they did the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. So it was the same. There was the curtain. There was the thing backstage. There was the guy pulls the curtain for you, the star, right? Everything it was that studio. It was Studio 1 or A. Studio 1? I think Studio 1. And then they moved to a different studio. So when I later did other Lenos, it was in a completely different thing. So it was there was a slight connection to that Tonight Show with Johnny Carson.
So you were in the
and then when I did Late Night with Jimmy Fallon, that was from Carson's New York studio when he had the Tonight Show in New York.
Before he moved to L.A.
Yeah, 6B, which is part of Radio City.
Were you with Fallon when they launched that show? You were the head monologue writer?
Yeah, head monologue writer.
How did that come about?
Well,
they saw you work with the elevators?
No. They knew my excellent service dispatcher. And that reputation, that doesn't leave you. That doesn't leave you.
We need somebody to write monologues. Who was that kid who helped us out when Bank B went down in Rockefeller Center?
He was really good. He got the crew right over here.
They got here, I think, when they got here, I think was what he said.
They'll be there when they get. That's terrible. This is what happened was I was a comedian. It's kind of a long story.
Having a good time?
Here's the short story. The short story is a year before the show launched, maybe even before they announced it, Lorne Michaels went to Jimmy and was like, you should get back on the road a little bit. You've been doing these movies and stuff like that, and get your chops up so when you start hosting The Late Show with Jimmy Fallon, you're up to snuff on just crowd work and ad-libbing and all of this kind of stuff. So Jimmy contacted me and was like, hey, would you, can I open for you while I put together a new act? We'll go out on the road. You can help me write it. And I was like, yeah.
So he was opening, you were opening.
He was opening for me at the beginning. And then he had about 10 to 15 of new stuff.
He did that Taxi movie, right?
Yeah.
He Fever
did
Pitch. He was doing
He did a number of movies that for whatever reason didn't.
Never got there.
Which was bizarre because he's so ridiculously, as Kevin Pollak put it, unfairly talented. He's just it's ridiculous how talented that guy is. So I was like, yeah, I'll have you open for me. And then at the end, he would come back out after I closed, and we would do like a song together because I also played music.
That's right. You have musical talent.
Yeah. So I played piano, and we would do some shtick together and ad lib. And it didn't take long for